or I felt like I had to protect myself from being hurt from people that I loved. But I couldn't figure out how I was gonna make it. People, how you want to be treated, and that is always how I think about it.
He was still married to his wife, living in that same house. And then she moved in while she was cool with the wife.
I mean, we hang out with each other. We go to dinner together. Our family is one big, beautiful family. We're doing Thanksgiving. We're doing the holidays. We'll do a birthday celebration together. It is a beautiful partnership. I'm very, very proud.
It's like Swizz is a real Diddy do-wah-bah. Like, I'm not understanding.
Nobody expected Alicia Keys to step out and drop a bomb like this. For years, her marriage to Swizz Beatz looked untouchable. All smiles, anniversaries, and picture-perfect family photos. But out of nowhere, Alicia turned the spotlight straight onto actress and TV personality Lala Anthony, hinting at a secret engagement that could shatter everything we thought we knew. This wasn't whispered gossip in some hidden forum. Alicia made sure the world heard it, and in doing so, she ripped open a rumor that's been quietly circling for years. Suddenly, the polished image of her marriage was replaced with questions that refused to go away. Was Lala really stepping into a double life? Or was Alicia's move less about betrayal and more about revenge, a public strike to expose the truth? The deeper you look, the less this feels like a random accusation, and the more it seems like the climax of a story that's been simmering beneath the surface for a long, long time. Old photos, cryptic captions, suspicious timing. The pieces don't line up neatly, but they don't disappear either. And that's what makes this so explosive. So here's the question. Are we watching a woman finally expose years of deception? Or are we watching karma catch up with one of music's most powerful couples? When Alicia Keys finally spoke up, she didn't slip her words into a quiet interview or bury them in a vague caption. She went loud, she went public, and she made sure that everyone from her fans to her haters knew exactly who she was talking about. The name she put front and center, Lala Anthony. That single move flipped the internet upside down. Suddenly, every timeline was flooded with reaction screenshots and hot takes. People weren't just shocked by the accusation itself, they were stunned by how Alicia delivered it. No hesitation, no coded language, no subtle shade. She aimed straight for the jugular and left zero room for confusion. And just like that, the audience became detectives. Fans who once scrolled past old photos and harmless captions suddenly went back combing through years of content like they were piecing together a true crime mystery. That blurry Instagram post from 2018, now it looked suspicious. The cryptic tweet Lala dropped during Swizz's birthday week, suddenly it carried an entirely different meaning. Even red carpet smiles and casual interviews got a second look. Were they just friendly or something more? The speed was wild. Within hours, the quiet whispers that used to float around in gossip blogs turned into a full-blown trending storm. Every corner of the internet seemed to have a theory, and none of them were flattering. Some called it betrayal, others framed it as karma. But everyone agreed on one thing: Alicia had changed the conversation forever. And if fans thought this was just a one-off clapback, they were wrong. This was only the first spark, and the fire was about to spread. Long before Alicia Keys called out Lala Anthony's name in public, the whispers had already started making their way through blogs and radio shows. The first big wave hit when radio host Miss Jones claimed she'd gotten a DM straight from Swizz Beatz's own camp. According to her, the message was blunt: Lala was in love with Swizz, but he wasn't about to leave Alicia for her. That little leak set off alarm bells. Suddenly, the idea of an innocent friendship between Swizz and Lala didn't look so innocent anymore. And if Miss Jones really had inside info, it meant the story wasn't just internet fan fiction, it was something bubbling inside Swizz's circle. But Swizz wasn't about to let the rumors spiral without a fight. He stormed into the comment section like a man on a mission and fired off that now infamous clapback, "Knock it the F off." It was short, sharp, and designed to shut the story down cold. And for a while it worked. Except not really. Because instead of fading away, the whispers only grew louder when Swizz started showering Alicia with over-the-top love bombs. First came the extravagant birthday gift, a custom Maybach worth around $300,000 delivered after months of anticipation. Then came the music. He jumped into the studio, remixing her songs and teaming up with rappers who dropped glowing bars about Alicia's artistry, her heart even calling her the R&B Rosa Parks. To fans, it looked like romance in full bloom. But to others, it looked like a cover-up, the kind of grand gestures meant to distract from the smoke that was already turning into fire. Because the question lingered, were these really acts of love? Or were they strategic moves to keep the spotlight away from Lala? Just when everyone thought the drama couldn't get any messier, another bomb dropped whispers that Swizz Beatz had fathered a child outside of his marriage. But here's the kicker, the rumors didn't point to Alicia Keys, and they didn't even point directly to Lala Anthony. Instead, the story claimed it was with another woman entirely. On the surface, that should have shifted the spotlight. A brand new face in the scandal should have changed the narrative right-wrong. Because fans immediately started calling out the obvious. What if this so-called other woman was nothing more than a smokescreen? A distraction designed to keep Lala's name out of the headlines. After all, what better way to quiet the storm than by pointing in a completely different direction? The internet went into meltdown mode. Memes flew faster than the rumors themselves. Some fans joked that Swizz was running a full-time reality show without telling anyone. Others weren't laughing. They saw the timing as suspicious and connected the dots back to Lala, insisting the mystery woman was just a convenient cover story. Reactions poured in from every corner, disbelief, outrage, even dark humor. Tweets read like mini soap operas, "Wait, Swizz got another woman pregnant. Oh, Alicia girl." Others cut deeper, framing it as karma, finally circling back. And through it all, one theme kept repeating: if Alicia had already suspected something, this rumor wasn't just about a baby. It was about trust betrayal and a cycle that was starting to look all too familiar. What should have been just another messy headline now looked like the biggest plot twist yet. And if Alicia's marriage was already cracking under the weight of accusations, this rumor was the sledgehammer that could shatter it completely. Here's where things start to feel less like coincidence and more like strategy. Every time the whispers about Lala Anthony and Swizz Beatz got too loud, something interesting happened. Lala's name suddenly popped up next to another man, a mysterious entrepreneur here, an unnamed close friend. There are even rumored flings that never made it past a blurry paparazzi shot. And just like that, the narrative shifted. But here's the thing, Lala never confirmed, and she never denied. No Instagram couple pics, no tearful denials, no messy clapbacks, just silence. And that silence spoke louder than any statement ever could. Fans were left to fill in the blanks, spinning theories and running wild with speculation, while Lala simply let the storm burn itself out. For some people, this looked like luck. For others, it looked like a playbook, a carefully executed PR masterclass in deflection. Because while the public chased side stories and debated her so-called new men, the real rumor, her alleged connection with Swizz, stayed in the shadows. Out of sight, out of mind. It's the kind of move that keeps a person untouchable. By never attaching herself to a single story, Lala stayed just slippery enough to avoid getting pinned down. Was she really distracting the public on purpose? Or was she just living her life while everyone else built the narratives for her? Either way, it worked, at least for a while. But the moment Alicia Keys put her name front and center, all of those years of subtle misdirection suddenly looked less like coincidence and more like a carefully laid trail. And that's when the whispers turned into full-blown suspicion. To really understand why Alicia Keys' bombshell hit so hard, you've got to rewind the clock back to 2010. That's when Alicia and Swizz Beatz' love story began, but it wasn't exactly a fairy tale. At the time, Swizz was still married to singer Mashonda Tifreri. According to Mashonda, the divorce blindsided her. She claimed she had no idea Swizz was preparing to marry Alicia just months later. And when she finally spoke out, she made it clear there had been overlap. In her words, Alicia knew he was married when she got involved. That messy beginning stuck in the public memory. And now, more than a decade later, fans are connecting the dots all over again. The phrase "how you get them is how you lose them" started trending as people pointed out the eerie parallels. Back then, it was Mashonda left heartbroken while Swizz moved on with Alicia. Today, if the rumors are true, Alicia could be the one watching another woman step into her place. Social media wasted no time in framing it as karma. Old tweets and interviews resurfaced, showing how Mashonda described the pain of betrayal. And fans are saying history is simply repeating itself, only this time with Alicia on the receiving end. The cycle looks almost too perfect, as if the universe is pulling the same story into motion again. And that's what makes this scandal sting more than just a cheating rumor. It's not only about Alicia and Lala, it's about a pattern. A pattern of over-the-top romance hiding messy truths, a pattern of love triangles leaving one woman out in the cold, and a pattern that fans refuse to ignore. To them, this isn't a new chapter. It's déjà vu. As if the accusations and whispers weren't enough, reports soon surfaced that Alicia Keys was preparing to take the ultimate step divorce. And this wasn't just some vague tabloid headline. According to insiders, the decision came after a court-ordered paternity test confirmed what she'd long feared: Swizz Beatz had allegedly fathered a child outside their marriage. That revelation turned the gossip into cold, hard reality. No more cryptic posts, no more "maybe it's true, maybe it's not." The kind of paperwork that comes out of a courtroom doesn't leave much room for denial. For Alicia, the rumors that had been haunting her marriage suddenly transformed into undeniable proof. But what truly stunned fans wasn't just the betrayal, it was the timing. The news broke almost immediately after Alicia and Swizz had celebrated their 15th wedding anniversary, posting glossy photos and captions about magic and unbreakable love. On Instagram, they looked like the perfect couple. Behind the scenes, though, Alicia may have already been holding those paternity results in her hand. That sharp contrast, the carefully curated anniversary image versus the messy reality, was almost too much for fans to process. To many, it felt like a performance, a final act in a long play to keep the world from seeing what was really happening. And that's where the heartbreak hit hardest, because it wasn't just about infidelity anymore. It was about deception, illusion, and the painful truth that even the most picture-perfect love stories can crumble. The anniversary posts had promised forever, but the paternity test made it clear forever had an expiration date. With divorce rumors swirling and paternity test whispers gaining traction, one question started dominating the conversation. If Alicia Keys walks away, does Lala Anthony step in? After years of silence, sidesteps, and carefully timed distractions, is this the moment she finally claims the spotlight as Swizz Beatz's public fiancé? For some fans, the answer feels obvious. They point to the history of cryptic posts, late-night sightings, and the undeniable chemistry that people swear they've noticed for years. To them, Alicia's exit would simply clear the stage for Lala to step into a role she's allegedly been orbiting for a long time. In that version of the story, all the diversions, the rumored boyfriends, the quiet red carpet moments, the studied silence were just steps in a long game leading to this end. But not everyone buys that narrative. Others argue Lala isn't plotting anything at all. She's just the easiest scapegoat in a messy situation Swizz himself created. They see her name as the convenient headline, while the deeper issue is Swizz's own history of repeating patterns. Was Lala really building toward an endgame, or is she just caught in the crossfire of a scandal that was bound to implode no matter what? Either way, her role can't be ignored. Whether mastermind or bystander, Lala's name has become the pivot point of this entire drama. And with Alicia reportedly drawing her line in the sand, the next move could decide whether Lala steps out of the shadows into the center of the storm or fades back into the background while the wreckage falls on someone else. By the time this scandal hit its peak, fans couldn't ignore the eerie symmetry. What started back in 2010 with Mashonda's heartbreak now seemed to be repeating in 2025, only this time Alicia Keys was the one facing the fire. The cycle was unmistakable whispers turning into rumors, rumors exploding into headlines, and public love stories unraveling under the weight of secrets. For Alicia, this wasn't just about Lala Anthony, or even the possibility of Swizz Beatz fathering another child. It was about confronting a pattern that had haunted her marriage from the very beginning. A pattern of distractions, of whispers hidden beneath grand gestures, of women left piecing together truth from fragments. In many ways, it looked less like a single scandal and more like a story that had been looping for over a decade. And that's why the internet latched onto the idea of karma. How you get them is how you lose them became the rallying cry, a reminder that actions echo long after the headlines fade. To some, Lala wasn't just a new character in Alicia's story, she was the mirror reflecting back a chapter Alicia once played in someone else's life. But the real question cuts deeper. Was this entire saga a carefully orchestrated long game with Lala waiting patiently in the wings for her moment? Or was it simply bad timing, a series of messy coincidences that collided at the worst possible moment? That's the part that keeps people glued to the story. Because until the truth fully surfaces, the narrative remains a blend of scandal, suspicion, and déjà vu. A love story turned cautionary tale circling back to where it began. At the end of the day, this scandal isn't just about one accusation or one messy rumor. It's about patterns that refuse to disappear. From Mashonda's heartbreak in 2010 to Alicia Keys' public bombshell in 2025, the cycle feels all too familiar. The over-the-top gifts, the cryptic silences, the suspicious timing, none of it can be brushed off as coincidence anymore. But here's the real mystery. Is this the result of a carefully planned long game with Lala Anthony quietly maneuvering her way into the spotlight? Or is it simply the chaos of bad timing with Alicia caught in the same storm she once helped stir? That's the question that keeps fans debating long after the headlines fade. Because this story isn't just gossip. It's a mirror reflecting choices, consequences, and the reality that karma never misses its turn. The real takeaway. What goes around always comes back. Sometimes louder, sometimes messier, but always full circle. So now it's your turn. Do you believe this was years in the making, a master plan finally reaching its endgame? Or just a chain of coincidences that exploded at the worst possible moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because one thing's for sure, this story is far from over.